So welcome to my channel. Hello there, I am Stacy and I am the painter at earthhavenstudio. Sometimes I paint ceramics, sometimes I paint things I've thrifted and I'm upcycling them. Sometimes I paint on canvas. You just never know. I like to shake it up.
Today's video is part of a summer collaboration with Jami Vintage and many other creative friends. I hope you take time to check out the playlist and see all of the interesting and unusual projects that we come up with.
Out of old headboards and footboards on Pinterest, and oh my goodness, Pinterest, it will get you every time, right? So I've got all these benches pinned and I see one on the marketplace and I buy it. $10, I buy it. Then I ask my dad if he's busy because that's what I do. Hey Dad, are you busy? I got a little project for you. What kind of project? Well, just wait and see. I'm gonna bring it up. And he's like, okay, what are we doing? I'm like, I want to make a bench. He's like, bench. I'm like, yeah, so this is the back and this is the front and we need a seat and how do you, I don't know. I don't know how to do it. I just know that it would be cool to do. Show him the pictures and he's like, so, I'm like, I don't know, you do it. And he's really good at that. He gets out his graph paper and he draws pictures, and not too long later, he calls me up and he says, okay, I'm at a bench. And I'm like, yes. So I go up and the picture's gonna be right there. And it's so cute. It's so cute. And I'm like, oh, I can't wait to paint it. I knew I wanted to do a little mural on the back of the seat. So I taped it off and I'm like, okay, we're gonna go with one of my favorites. We're gonna go water lily pond and a dragonfly. I have painted those for years. On ceramic, on furniture, I've painted them on my ceramic dishes, I've painted them on canvas, watercolor paper, you name it, I have dragonflied it. So I sat down one day and I had watched some tutorials on painting in the style that you see the water done. I watched a video by Dion Woods of the turquoise iris, and I watched her spray, paint and spray it with water, and then she took a putty knife and she scraped other paint on top of it. It was like, yes, I want to do this. And so I did. I was really happy with how that came out. Rest of the dragonfly, I will paint the details in afterwards. There's no point in transferring it all right now. I'm just putting some of the starting details in on the wings. The wings actually take a bit of time to do because you want them to look iridescent and gossamer, but you also want all that really nice detail work with the black too, right?
So while I'm painting in the body of the dragonfly, I used the colors that I had used in the water. The greens, the blues, the cream colors, and I just keep layering and layering until I get the shading and the highlighting and the texture I'm looking for. I give the wings a second coat, and in doing this, I follow the segments of the wings so that I can really start to show and build up the layers in the different pieces. And this is what makes it really gossamer in the end. You could literally paint the dragonfly for hours. It's the layers and the details and the washes that really build it up and make it lifelike. When I start to shade the wings to separate the two sets, I use the same colors that I used in the tail and in the water. The cohesive palette makes it actually look more natural and real. Applying this deep blue can be a little nerve-wracking because you think, oh my gosh, I just painted it white. But we're just going to blend and spread it out with water, and then we're going to come back in with another layer of white. All the blended shadows and the highlights is what really makes this wing look like it could be translucent, and also that it is curved and swooping. I use water to thin the black paint and a long, thin, tiny liner brush to create the black lines in the wings to give it the texture. Now I'm using some black wax. I've taken and I wipe most of it off on a paper towel. And what I'm doing here is I'm giving a shadow under the edge of the dragonfly and the edge of the pads and the lilies, so that they look like there is a shadow underneath them. The black wax really is an amazing tool for this because you can smudge it exactly where you want it.
Once I had my painting all done, I then decided I wanted to add some molds and some air dry clay to fancy it up a bit. The script, and that was a stamp by Iron Orchid Designs called Kindest Regards. The molds that I used also from Iron Orchid Designs was called Classic Element, I think. I will link that below. So I made the molds and I put them on, let them dry, and then I came back and I gave everything 2 quick coats of a light gray chalk paint. After the gray paint was dry, I took a darker gray and I painted over the molds and I blended it into the light gray.
I dry brushed the centerpiece of the scripture with a little bit of white paint to highlight that area.
So my final step was the fence boards that became the seat. The fence boards had come from my sister's fence that she had taken down, so my dad sanded them down and there they were in their raw wood condition. I took some light gray paint and I made light gray chalk paint, and I made a wash, and I applied it in the direction of the grain of the wood. I then made another wash of a darker gray, and I did it again, but more sporadically. I did the knots, I did the edges of the wood, where it would naturally darken a bit. I then went back a third time with a charcoal gray with a little bit of black, just to give it a little bit more dimension and another layer. So the boards have a lot of gray tones on them. I dry brushed across the grain of the wood so that it would hit only the high spots and give it another layer of texture and another layer of weather. I think they came out really great. I didn't have any weathered wood type paints at home, and the boards were already attached to the seat, so I couldn't do the method of using the vinegar and the steel wool. So this was the option available to me, and I was really happy with how it came out. I absolutely would love you to follow along. Hit the subscribe button, push the bell notification, and check out what we've got coming up next. I promise you it's going to be fun.